Myself, Dr. Jiban Jyoti Panda. I am currently holding a position of scientist at the Institute of Nanoscience and Technology. This is basically an institute dedicated towards nanoscience. It's an autonomous institute under the Department of Science and Technology, India, and our focus is to develop nanoscience-based products which can reach the mankind for various applications. We work in the field, nanoscience is a new science, is a modern science, and it has got lots of application. You may hear and there must be hearing about nano products everywhere in computer, in IT industries, in your detergents, in medicine, and everywhere. So in our institute, we have faculty members from all the fields, and we try to develop nano products, nanostructures for the application, for usefulness of humankind. And I basically work in the field of nanomedicine. I'm just telling you because my work is very close to my heart and it's my passion. So I love it. I love to explain about it. So basically, we work in the field of developing nanomedicine based products. So just for the layman, like why we should at all develop nanomedicine, that is because let's say we take an example of cancer. So there we, whatever the person, it's basically a dreaded disease. It's kind of, in many cases, it's kind of a death sentence. But now when we take various chemotherapeutic molecules to treat cancer, radioactive molecules, the other method is surgery or radioactive based therapies. But the problem is that they are all very toxic. They are very harmful to our own systems. Like some chemotherapeutic drugs can affect our heart. They can, damage our kidney, other body parts. So in that case, it's really important that we should develop some products or some drugs that can directly reach the tumor tissues and treat the diseased area only. So in that case, nanoparticles means very tiny particles which are in the dimension of in nanometer size range, which is like 10 to the power minus 9 meter. Minus 9 means it's very tiny. It's, if you can think about hair, it's even tinier than that. The diameter of a hair, it's very thin, but nano is very small. So when we encapsulate any drug or formulate any drug in that nano dimension, it can reach the disease site. So this is what is all about my work. So basically, I try to develop nanostructures for treating different disorders, specifically the neuronal disorders. We know nowadays our life is very stressful. We work day and night to meet ends, and there are many things. It's very difficult sometimes to maintain work-life balance. So hence the neurological disorders are, they have taken up so much. Now you can find many people suffering from neurological disorders. So in that case, our lab's aim is to develop nanostructures through which we can treat various brain disorders like Alzheimer's. It's a very debilitating disorder in which a person tends to forget. The memory is lost, the cognitive ability is lost. In that process, even you cannot do it. Now we can see many old age people suffering from this these days. So basically, you cannot do your daily routine, you forget things. So in that process, I feel it is very important to develop such kind of medicine, specifically nanomedicine. So we are working in cancer, brain tumor, in Alzheimer's, in brain stroke, etc. But before I reached here, I joined here as a scientist, I can take you back to my, the journey, my own journey. So before I joining here as a scientist, I did my postdoctoral studies in University of Colorado, USA, basically the Denver campus. So there I was working with Professor Uday Kompella, and that lab was very much dedicated to working in the field of developing these nano formulations. And it was a pharmaceutical department, department of pharmacy. So we were being trained to develop different pharmaceutical formulations. So there I developed that keen interest to work in the field of nano formulations, and I understood what is the difference between basic and translational research. Like, what should we do to make a pharmaceutically viable nano formulation so that it can reach from bench to bedside. So I worked with Professor Uday Kompella. He was my postdoctoral supervisor there, and he was very like a great mentor. And he actually, as I just mentioned, he made me understand like what is the fine difference between translational and basic research. Of course, basic research is needed, but translational research is also, it's a need of the hour. So the aim of the research should be that it should reach the common man. So, and before joining his lab, we were in an FDA, US FDA project. Before that, I was being granted the UNESCO L'Oreal Fellowship for Young Women in Science. So this is a very prestigious fellowship which is being awarded to 15 young women scientists world over. So they have different regions and they select just 15 young women scientists throughout. And I was the third Indian to receive that fellowship. And so in the year 2011, so I got that fellowship, and I chose Dr. Kampella's lab for 2 years. I worked in that fellowship. And before that, actually, I did my PhD in International Center of Genetic Engineering and Biotechnology, New Delhi. So there are three of its kinds. One is in Italy, ICGB, basically what we call it. So one is in Italy, one is in South Africa, and the other one is in New Delhi campus. So in that, I worked in the field of this peptide-based nanomaterials. I did my PhD over there with Professor V.S. Chauhan, Padma Shri Professor V.S. Chauhan. So he was my PhD mentor, PhD guide, and there I worked in this development of protein and peptide-based nanoformulation, which I just mentioned. And with, like I did my master's in Utkal University. I'm basically from Orissa. So I was born in a native village in Orissa in Cuttack district. It's my village name is Govindpur. It's a small village in my state Orissa. So when I was too young, like 2 to 3 years, we then moved to West Bengal, Durgapur in West Bengal, where I did my schooling majorly all till 12th, till 11th I was there. My father served in paramilitary forces, so we had to always, he had a transferable job. So we kept on changing schools, and we also moved to, some part of my schooling I did in Bihar, Mokama Ghat. So it was like I had lots of, it's good because I kind of met many people and got trained by many learned teachers. It was good to interact, good to, see the places and the local, interact with the local people. So it was anyways very good. And in that way, we also got a chance to move around India. So it was good. My schooling and everything was really nice, what I can say now. And that also developed some sort of patriotism in me, because father was serving in paramilitary forces. So after schooling, I again went back to Orissa, where I did my graduation in botany, chemistry, and zoology with honors in botany. So after graduation, I again moved to Utkal University for my master's studies. So there, it was a turning point of kind of thing, because there at that time only this Department of Biotechnology started a program in biotechnology, like that biotechnology was kind of just started, that field was just started, and DBT was kind of selecting few students, and I was kind of a lucky one to get selected for that master's degree in Utkal University, that was under the department, directly under the Department of Biotechnology. So there I got exposed to biotechnology. It's also it's a modern form of biology, you can say, where we try to, genetically engineer materials, and we use biology for basically to find some technology based applications. So there I got exposed to, all the, like in masters only, we got exposed to different types of research articles, and there only this interest for, doing some independent research and all. I developed that interest, and I just mentioned after that I moved to Delhi, and there I did my PhD, and now wherever I am. If I want to talk about my passion from the very childhood, I wanted to be a scientist. In those kind of discussions when you are being asked by your teacher, class teacher, what is your aim in life? So I always told that or wanted to be a scientist, and I was very interested in learning about the life stories of various scientists. Specifically, I got influenced by Madame Curie and her research, and slowly I moved on. Yeah, of course, I'm very much interested in medicine because when you travel, as I just mentioned, we were traveling mostly, and those days we used to travel, in trains and all. And when you see people suffering, like I used to see in like people suffering of pain, people were suffering, they were having diseases, and in some places you see old person suffering. So that time I felt that I should do something for them, some medical based research. So in therein I kind of developed this passion to work in the field of medicine. And like as I grew up, when I went to my master's studies in Utkal University, that time we had a conference wherein we were kind of told about nanotechnology. So and we are being so in my biotech course, when I was going through my master's, pursuing my master's studies, so there we learned about all this. Like we learned more about cells, how our body or how our system works, how various kinds of molecules which we use, like the antibiotics, whatever we use in modern day medicine, what is their mode of action inside the cells, what are their targets. All these things we got to learn through that course, in our course, which was related to cell biology, cytology. But slowly, during that conference only, I got to know that, of course, if we can develop some formulation or bring some formulation to the nano dimension, then their access to the cellular environment, or their access to the place where we need them, that can be improvised, and this will help in increasing their efficacy. So there we are told that if let's say in case of normal drugs, if we have to take some drugs in a month, we have to take it, let's say 10 times. But if we can have a nano formulation where we can drastically reduce the doses, maybe once a shot can be helpful. So through that conference, I actually developed the interest in nanotechnology. And then of course I studied different books and materials. And during my PhD, I was kind of exposed to it. I worked in Professor Chauhan's lab, where we developed peptide based nanoformulations, protein based nanoformulations. So there I studied more research. I was going I got a chance to in their library, and through online. These days everything, most of the things are also available online, so we can, a good thing is that we can read most of the articles. The knowledge is available to everyone. So then after reading those articles, so that interest got cemented further. I just, when, as I mentioned, I'm very much interested in working in the field of cancer nanomedicine and brain tumors. I'm working and other cancers. So that, it was a bit personal. When I was doing my PhD, in the first year of my PhD, I lost my maternal grandmother, and she was very close to me. And we shared a very kind of tight bonding, and she died due to cancer. So I saw her sufferings, and her premature, early demise, because due to this cancer or that dreaded disease. And earlier we could not diagnose it, so she was suffering from some sort of stomach ache and all, but later on we found that it was cancer. And it was at a very last stage, so we are kind of too helpless and we could not save her. So that feeling was, I can never forget that. She was very close to my heart, and so that feeling was too drenching. But then that always inspires me to work in this field of cancer nanomedicine, to really think, it pushes me to think about it. Like, how can I develop? I know it's a very, it's a very multifarious disorder, and the world is struggling and grappling under it. But I want to try and give my best, and as much as possible, so that we can do something as a biomedical scientist. But yeah, her early demise was the triggering factor for me to take this cancer nanomedicine based research as my career. If I talk about, see, I have lots of influences both in my personal and professional life. So if I talk about my personal life, of course, as a kid, our learning always starts from, as a child, it starts from home. So our parents are always the source of inspiration, and they influence us the most. So if I say my mother is the person who has always influenced me the most. My father worked in paramilitary forces, so mostly he was posted in disturbed areas. So what she did a lot of sacrifice to stay at the, like, what we can call, like, at a distant place, a safer place, and where we were having our schoolings. And also she raised us single-handedly, father being mostly posted out, and the way she managed the family in sorts of all odds and ups and downs makes us her the most inspiring person of my life. I can say, like, very well say that she is the superwoman. Like, she managed, we are three sisters, so she managed all of us, and she always encouraged us to take, to take studies seriously. And she was the one who used to, share the all the, like, scientific books with me. She used to tell me some small stories about science. So she was very like my first teacher or guru, what I can say. And then like, yeah, of course, like any other kid, she a woman, I learned a lot from her, the strength she showed. So she is my super woman, super lady. I admire her a lot. And then my father, of course, like, he was in military forces, so he was very disciplined. So from him I learned to value time, to be on time, to be punctual. And he instilled that self-disciplined life in us, in all of us, actually. And then as I married my husband, he's like very supportive. He's himself a scientist, and we actually discuss a lot about work. Also at the home, we discuss about science, we share our professional and personal problems both. And he is very supportive in my career. Basically, I would like to add that I got married to him just after my master's degree was over. So my PhD, postdoc, everything, he supported a lot. Like, he was like, he gave me that those extra hours to work. Even I was required to travel, go to the lab at night. He supported in that. So basically, and apart from that, he's a person with very calm mind. So he, like, sometimes we get moved away, but he will handle everything with so much of calmness. So that inspires me a lot. Apart from his, he's a very good scientist also. So his scientific, we discuss science and all those so things. Sometimes we take lab home, so that is also fun. Sometimes it's fun. Yeah, so he's another personal influences. And then apart from him, my sisters are always great source of strength and courage for me. It's good, like, we share a lot of personal stuffs, and they many times they give me lots of support in like handling family matters. And apart from that, all my school teachers, basically, if I would like to mention my English ma'am, Banerjee ma'am, she was very nice, and she exposed me to a lot of different, apart from the subject, she used to teach us about like the value of life, how, what should we, like the honesty and many other aspects of life. And my mathematics ma'am, maths was my favorite subject in school, though I wanted to be a biomedical scientist. But these days science is very interdisciplinary, so you need to know, when you are a nanotechnologist, you need to understand and know everything, because at the nano dimension, in the, like, when you go to that size, everything gets interdisciplinary. So she influenced me a lot, and my class teacher, of course. And apart from that, as I moved in my career, I met with very nice mentors, like I mentioned, my PhD supervisor and my postdoctoral supervisor, and all the other faculty members of the institutes where I did my PhD. So all of them are kind of my they helped me in shaping up my career and professionally and personally. And if I talk about my professional influencers, I got really influenced by Madame Curie because she was like the leading women scientist, and I was going through her life. I kind of got to read her biography, and I found that she really struggled a lot to place herself where she actually is now. Like she struggled a lot to reach wherever she could reach in the field of science. So it inspires me a lot as a woman scientist, I can say. And she was the lady who got Nobel Prize. She was a pioneer in the field of research in radioactivity, and she was the only lady to get a Nobel Prize in twice and two disciplines. So that's really something which is commendable. So she inspires me a lot when I talk about as a woman scientist. She is my inspiration. And of course my PhD supervisor, Professor Chauhan, VS Chauhan, Padma Shri. So he actually taught me the value of asking important scientific questions. He taught me like we should think about taking up difficult scientific challenges, so that we can really find a solution to real problems, like I mentioned about various diseases. So he taught me that art of taking scientific challenges independently and kind of kindle my interest in research, independent research. And of course he's a very good manager. He's a very great scientist and is a very good manager. So from him I also learned how to manage, labs and students. So those things I kind of got, and I learned from him. Sorry. And then my as I mentioned, Professor Uday Kompella, he is also very instrumental in my professional career, because I went to US from India at that time, and then you feel like it's a foreign land, so you need someone who can support you. So he helped me in he comforted me in both the aspects, like managing many personal stuff there in a new place, and then of course encouraged me, always inspired me a lot, encouraged me a lot to carry out my research. So as I just mentioned, he wanted me to take research as a career, and specifically work in the field of translational medicine. So these are all my personal and professional influences. Yeah, milestone, if I can say, like, yeah, from childhood, like you get encouraged and inspired by even like any tiny thing, or you get, so the in school getting this merit scholarship for both mathematics and biology was like the starting point. Of course everything inspires you, even if you win a prize in any extempore speech and all, but that was the best first milestone. Then I got this. I got selected in MSc Biotechnology, that program by DBT, and then I was also awarded with DBT JRF Junior Research Fellowship and ICMR Indian Council of Medical Research Junior Research Fellowship. So those helped me in getting myself enrolled in the PhD program. And then, of course, the best thing which I can remember is this UNESCO L'Oreal Fellowship, because it was a great, inspiring. It was a fellowship, but they hosted this program in UNESCO headquarters in Paris. And those days, they planned it in such a way that we could interact with many leading scientists from Pasteur Institute, specifically women scientists. So that was a great turning point in my career, because you do good work, you try to work hard, but when you are rewarded, you feel so good. And then that also gave me a platform to move from India to US to learn more about this nanomedicine and nanotechnology. So that was a great milestone. And of course, after that, I got many other awards like the Young Scientist Award from OPPI, then this Hargobind Khurana Young Innovative Biotechnologies Award, and Inspire Faculty Fellowship. So that was a fellowship. When I joined back in India as a scientist, I got that fellowship, Inspire Faculty Fellowship from Department of Science and Technology. So that gave me the initial funding. As a scientist, we also need funds to run our lab. So that fellowship gave me, that award gave me those initial funding to start up my own independent lab. And of course, the BioCare Award, which is meant for women scientists specifically. So that gave me also, that helped me in establishing my own lab in here at INST. And of course, now I am a member of Indian National Young Academy of Sciences. So all these are kind of milestone in my career path. So, and very, encouraging and helpful. Yeah, if I as a woman scientist, I mean, as a woman as such, also the first challenge, you were in, you were at home and you were well protected, you were with your parents, so you don't get to see many difficulties. But when I decided to join Utkal University, so my parents were posted they were in Bihar, so I had to move alone, and I had to, manage everything. I had to self-sustain myself in Odisha, in my hostel, and otherwise also. So that time, getting, I was trying to, that was the period I was trying to find right places for my career. Like I was trying to join, filling up forms for various universities. So there I did everything alone. So suddenly, like there, as a kind of girl, I faced some sort of challenges. But of course, when you have problems, you also get to learn the solutions, and these are the things which you make, which eventually make you strong. It provides you that strength to, fight back. And also that was, of course, a challenging and learning period. And after that, basically, when my son was born, my son Jyotiraditya, so it got me a lot of, it brought a huge flow of happiness in my life. Of course, as any other mother, I was very delighted to have him in my life. But as a scientist, it was very challenging, because you have to manage the baby and your lab. So you have to, meet various deadlines. And when we have a lab, PhD students and research students, so we have to sometimes keep a balance. So that time it was a bit challenging to face. I was kind of finding it difficult to do justice at both ends. But then my parents, my husband, with the support, if I look back, it was not that bad. And I could manage with the support of my family. And apart from that, when we try to start our own laboratories, so as a scientist, the other challenge which we face is that how to take our invention from bench to bedside. Bench to bedside means how to actually give it a translational value. So that's a challenge most of us would be facing as a scientist. So I'm trying to learn how to find solution, how to collaborate, interact with people, and now how to expand our networking both in country and outside the country, so that we can really add some value to the work. If now we have, at this stage of the life, we have seen a lot of different ups and downs in life. But for me, if I talk about success, it's like kind of, if you are able to do something which you really like, which you aspire for, that is what I can address as call as a really successful life. So you should find success. To me, is like finding some purpose for life. Let's say I have this passion and I have this goal in my mind. So even if I can reach to some, if if I can contribute to even to some percentage in the development of like successful biomedical materials, and that could really help humankind, so that would be a success to me. But it is basically being able to do what you like to doing, what is, if we can follow our passion, so that is what success to me. And failure, I have been lucky not to see much setbacks or failure in my specifically professional career. So like of course I worked hard for this, but yeah, like I kind of bearing those few challenges, like where I had to find a strike a balance between working environment, work and my research. I think life has been, you know, like bit smoother in terms of professional career. And of course I got lots of our government was supportive, I got these fellowships and of the teachers, so it was a kind of okay and good for me till that. Yeah, so actually, my interest is in like neuro nanomedicine to, if I can put it in, put it specifically. So here we try to develop different types of nano formulation, these tiny nanostructures on nanomedicine based platform, where we are trying to find solution for dreaded neuronal disorders like brain cancer, Alzheimer's, brain stroke, and of course, since brain and eye is so closely associated, so some portion of our work is also channelized toward developing nanomedicine for ophthalmic ocular disorders, like if I can say cataract. So cataract is mostly, if you see, it's a very common leading cause of blindness worldwide, and you can find many old age people suffering from cataract. So it's very common ophthalmic disorders. So, but the only solution which we currently have for the disease is surgery. So the person has to undergo specific surgery, and that requires that person to get admitted. Of course, you need doctors and all. And in many cases, if a person is suffering from diabetes, let's say, and it has any other complications, so that person cannot go for surgery. So we try to, apart from our neurological nanomedicine, which I was talking, we also try to develop nano formulation, which can be used to treat cataract non-invasively. It's our aim is to develop this kind of eye drops or something, which can, the patient can just take at home. So like I was talking about taking stuff, science from bench to bedside. So if a person can have it near his bed as an eye drop, and the person can use it, like doses and all, we are of course working on it. So this is like this work was kind of got lots of media attention, of course, because and many people are kind of reaching me every day so that we are trying, we did it in the lab scale, we tested it, and then now we are trying for animal studies. But I get mails and phone calls almost day before yesterday. Also I got a phone call from someone, like someone's mother cannot be operated because of diabetes, so they wants to know when this formulation will be in market. So this is like when you feel good, like of course you also feel that pressure that of course we have to work harder to get the things to reach the common man. But it even simultaneously it gives you that satisfaction that it can be something which can help the like reach the society and can help people widely. I get this even from US, I get mails regarding this. So this is something which I can feel like can have some kind of implications in the society. Apart from that, as a scientist, I feel we are the most kind of learned. We did PhD postdoc. So apart from doing research in the lab, of course, that is my passion, and it gives me the most happiness. But apart from doing research in labs, we have started some kind of outreach activities. So in that also we try to reach out to the society. So in our institute, we started that when I joined. I joined this outreach activity program where we went to rural places, various rural schools specifically. Of course, we delivered lots of lectures in the schools, surrounding schools, but we also tried to reach rural SC/ST schools, specifically in my state, Orissa. I went to tribal areas, and there I delivered lectures. The motto was to encourage students to take science as a career, specifically the girls, to encourage them to take A's. They should be encouraged to take higher education, whichever field they like. And as a scientist, we were kind of trying, because every nation is basic science or the scientific development is what a nation needs to progress further. So this is kind of a backbone which we cannot forget. So as a scientist, we always try to encourage them to take career in science, specifically in nanoscience. We told them about how nanoscience can play a role in shaping up in finding solution for our various day-to-day problems. So that was very interesting. I went to the tribal schools, and the students were, I was not expecting that they will interact so much. And in my tribal schools in Orissa, Baripada district, and they were so enthusiastic and like they was interacting a lot. I distributed maps, different types of books, nanomedicine and other books related to based on the life stories of various scientists. So there was a overwhelming response from both students and teachers. So it was really great. And apart from that, we also try to reach out women. Basically, we hold workshops and lectures to train, like to educate them. Basically, we went to rural areas, and we tried to reach them for educating them about basic hygiene and other overall personality development, and any other, like any kind of abuse they're facing, and all these things, and how to lead a, like COVID was there, so like how to keep hygiene at home and at different places. So and we also tried to make them or encourage them to take career, like to take their career seriously and all those things. So all those things, as when I talk about my socially responsive work, so these outreach activities are really, kind of very inspiring and helpful. And yeah, so that is like, apart from, I try to do research, I focus on my research, and also I try to bring my students, my juniors, and all the, we are like young girls, and along with me, so that they can be encouraged further. Yeah, so yeah, the world is changing. Let's say, if I can put it in that way, the climate is changing a lot. So now we can feel that heat. Like there is a huge change in the temperature. Like there, of course, at both the ends it's changing. So in our day-to-day life, we can feel that change. Earlier we are just talking about it, but this is high time where we can feel the change ourselves. So, and it is really needed that as a scientist we should contribute here. So basically, as a nanoscientist, I'm kind of planning, and I have started working in the field of environmental, some environmental nanomedicine and nanotechnology, where like in one of our work, as I mentioned, we tried to look for different like environmental, that this work we have started, environmental factors like pollutants and all, and what is their effect in, Alzheimer's, or is like what is that effect in our like brain tissues and all. So that work, as a scientist, I have started, that will help us understanding how this environmental pollutants and all is affecting us. And apart from that, if I talk about my day-to-day life, as if you educate a man, you educate only that man, but if you educate one woman, you educate the whole family, whole society. So we as a women have lots of role to play here. We have lots of responsibilities on our shoulders. So what I do, I always maintain a sustainable life. I prefer a vegetarian kind way of life. And then I always take care of using wisely using the energy resources, and of course anything like our water or in anything as like that. And I try to educate people about that in my family, in the society. And yeah, of course, that as a scientist, as I just mentioned, we work in the field of environmental nanotechnology, where we try to see the impact of those pollutants in our lives, in our tissues and all, and also try to detect different environmental pollutants which can be used in different water bodies and all. Yeah, basically, energy means I like working as scientist. Of course, I know as a woman, we should also be self-dependent. We should be leading a self-dependent life, and apart from that, I am very much passionate about science. So every day I have some problem to I have to find some solution to some sort of research problem. And of course, my students, I have majorly girl student. So and they're very enthusiastic and energetic, and they're very inquisitive at sometimes, and very eager to work. So you have to set a goal for them, set an example for them to encourage them to go ahead in the career. So these are the things which keeps me keeps me recharged. And apart from that, I just mentioned, I want to contribute to the society as a biomedical scientist. So at least if during my lifetime, if I can find some solution, I know it can be really challenging and difficult, because at each step you have to understand many things. You may face so many challenges. But of course, biology and biomedical, life sciences, are a bit different, because there you have to think about all the parameters like toxicity. Because if you are working as a formulation scientist, you cannot just make any drug. It has to be perfectly biocompatible, safe for human use. So these are the things, these are the challenges, and we have to, I have an interest in finding solution to that. So that keeps me working, that keeps the passion intact. Yeah, so for youngsters, yeah, the young girls, or maybe for myself, what I would like to convey is that it is very important to dream something, dream big. If we have some dream, we should, we want to think, be something, we have to be focused, we have to dream big, we have to chase our dreams. And as a girl, it is very important that we should not lose our hope. We have to be really confident about our decisions. We have to be our own judge. So a person is his or her best judge. So we have to judge ourselves, like how much efforts we are putting there. And of course, we need to be very confident. We have to have that perseverance and strength to chase our goals, and we should not lose hope. There will be difficulties, but if we can see the other the other factors, like these challenges can be your strength at times. Some failures can be, they can teach you something. You have to see the positive side of everything, and then keep growing, and be passionate about whatever you want to do. If you are interested in any field, you have to be passionate about that, and set specific goals, and small goals maybe, and try to reach it. So you can reach your destined goal in a stepwise manner. You may not reach there once, but if you are strong and determined, you will definitely fly and reach your goal. And of course, it's good to be meticulous and perfectionist, but don't try to find perfection in every hat you are wearing. It's okay if we can do some mistake, we can fail, but these are all learning steps. So we should try to make a balance. Of course, as a woman, as a girl, we have to keep a balance at many places, but we should be strong and don't get disheartened, be resilient in whatever we are doing. So that is very important. The inner strength is very important, and we should keep on moving. Yeah, of course, life is very busy as a woman research scientist. Of course, you have to handle your family and lab, and sometimes your own PhD students are like they become part of your life. So when I get some time in leisure, I love to hear songs. I'm fond of music, and like especially songs of Lata ji. I especially love Indian songs, of course. So Lata ji is close to my heart. Her all songs. She's a very like great singer, if I can say. And then I enjoy everything I do. Maybe playing with my son, and of course meeting people, reaching those in my outreach activities. We also enjoy a lot interacting with students and girls specifically. So everything is kind of dynamic here. So I enjoy whatever I do. I love cooking also. In this lockdown, everyone has turned into a great cook. So I love cooking also. I'm not that adventurous, of course, but if I would like to travel to space, if I can, because I used to read, as I mentioned earlier, like I was very interested in science fictions. So traveling to space and this space research, the celestial bodies always inspire, and of course, like finding life at another place as a biological scientist, I may say. So apart from this, of course, I would like to go to space and spend some time there.